الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا وحبيبنا ونبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. صلوا على رسول الله. اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد صلاة تفتح لنا أبواب الرضا والتيسير وتغلق بها عنا أبواب الشر والتعسير. أنت مولانا فنعم المولى ونعم النصير. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help our Muslim brothers and sisters in Bangladesh. Say Ameen. Allahumma farj an al-muslimeen ajma'in ya Rabbil Alameen. Innocent people being killed is very, very sad to see, but that's the case all across the Muslim world in general. Allah musta'an. May Allah bring stability to our homes, inshallah, in our lands, and to this country. Allah give safety to everyone, inshallah, ya Rabb. The chapter we're covering Tibyan, by the way, the book of Imam al-Nawawi. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to allow us to benefit from Imam al-Nawawi. Say Ameen. And to bless him. Ya Rabbil Alameen. In the chapter, of course, related to Niyyah, fi akhlaq, this isn't his chapter heading, but fi akhlaqi muallim al-Quran. The akhlaq, the qualities and the characteristics and the etiquettes of teachers and students is that a shaykh or even a student, they should be molded by good qualities, good akhlaq. If you're going to teach the Quran and you're going to learn the Quran, then you should have a certain demeanor to yourself. Right, the way a coach would be on the basketball court, on the like a soccer coach or this. That. For example, is his demeanor going to be similar to that of the teacher of Quran? If there is, there's a big problem in the teaching. If there is, there's a big problem. That's what I'm trying to get to. Not all teachers are the same. They're not all teaching the same thing. If you're teaching the Quran, then you better be holding yourself to a standard. You have to hold yourself as a student and teacher of the Quran to a certain standard. Imam al-Nawawi rahimahullah, the translation, of course, this translation is the one by Sheikh Musa Ferber. I like it. It's the best thing out in the market, of course, but there are a few things that I do disagree with him whenever I cover it and I'm comparing it to the Arabic. It's not too precise, but at least it's translated. It's much easier to teach for me. The scholar, and the teacher should be molded by the good qualities mentioned in the Shara, mentioned in the revelation. Okay? And I've previously covered one book, if you remember, by Sheikh Abdul Fattah. It's called Min Adab al-Islam. People love that series. When I cover the different qualities that a Muslim must hold, people really love that akhlaq series. And then last Ramadan, if you remember, I gave several lectures related to akhlaq that we find within the Quran. I'm thinking I need to go back to akhlaq. It's something that, it's not just for people, but myself and everyone as a community, we always need to refresh ourselves up and having the best, highest quality of character. Nobody wakes up and is a person of high character. It takes time, it takes effort, it takes discipline. إنما الصبر بالتصبر, all of those things. If you want to have patience, then you have to actually try to be patient. You don't just adopt these qualities overnight. And the praiseworthy inner qualities and the pleasing habits that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala most high guided to. Okay? And then Imam al-Nawawi, he then starts to mention the qualities that students and teachers of Quran, they must have. They include, he gives examples of them, abstinence in this world, zuhud, thinking little of it and lacking concern for it and its worldly people, not making much of the dunya. Your heart isn't in the dunya. You might have it in your hands, but your heart is not connected to it. Meaning that if everything were to be taken away from you, you would be able to live. You would live normally. I don't know if you've ever seen Habib, you've probably seen this video. Habib, he said, I don't care about the money. He was getting opportunities, millions and millions and millions. This is a fighter, let alone a person of Quran. This is a fighter, UFC fighter, champion, mashallah, Muslim, akhlaq. He said, I'm used to eating bread on the mountains. What is this for me? He's saying, I have no attachment to the dunya. Min bab awla, if you're a person connected to the teachings of the Quran, your heart shouldn't be connected to the dunya. Oh, I have this car, but that person, he has that better car, the better model. I want this car, I want this, I want more. Oh, I want the Rolex, I want this, I want that. Yeah, ma yantahi. Chasing after the dunya does not end. It's just constantly more and more. Mata tashba'. When are you going to be full? You're never going to be full from the dunya. Take care of yourself, take care of your family. After that, khalas. Stop, chasing after the dunya and have zuhud towards it. Abstinence. I could care less about it. Just to take care of myself and my family and the needs of people. Abstinence in this world. This is what the people of Quran they have. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Just once after the thing. He tells Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam in the Quran. Sallu alayhi. Allahumma salli wa sallim wa barik. وَلَقَدْ آتَيْنَاكَ سَبْعًا مِنَ الْمَثَانِي وَالْقُرْآنِ الْعَظِيمِ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells him, we have given you the 7 ayat, what are they? Fatiha and Al-Quran Al-Azim. After Allah tells Rasulullah that I have given you and I have honored you with this Quran, immediately after, the ayah is, لَا تَمُدَّنَّ عَيْنَيْكَ إِلَى مَا مَتَّعْنَا بِهِ أَزْوَاجًا مِنْهُمْ. He said, don't look at what other people have. First, Allah is reminding him, I have given you this honor, and then saying, don't look at what other people have. If you know the true value of Sharia, the true value of Quran, then you would know that this cannot be replaced by anything. The Quran that I memorized in my youth and the studies that I have done, if someone were to come and offer me, if this was a possible transaction, that the Quran you have memorized, I'll give you $1 billion for it, I will tell you, no way, no way. Ask this to any huffaz. If you were able to do that transaction, give $1 billion for the Quran you have memorized, would you give it for $1 billion? La, mafi. You would not. لا تمدن عينيك. After you're reminded of the status of the Quran. So again, students of Quran, they should know. If Allah has connected you to the Quran, then you should know the status that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given you. This is an honor. You're put in a higher position. So you hold yourself to a higher standard. But that doesn't mean you see yourself in a higher position. You are better than others. Who's better? The one who has Quran and the one who doesn't have Quran. Who's better? Who has Quran. But doesn't mean he could be arrogant now and express that. You have no knowledge. Look at this ignorant jahil. Some people, they do that. They go around because they have some little knowledge. They start to go around and then tell people you're stupid, you're ignorant, you don't know anything. And then they start to quote hadith or Quran or this, that you don't know anything. No. Allah's honored you. That's a status that He's given you. He has blessed you with it. You're supposed to be grateful for it. Know your worth. Know what Allah has given you, but don't use that to go then be prideful and arrogant against others. لا يحب مختال فخور. Allah does not love those that are arrogant. They include the characteristics that they must have: generosity, open-handedness, noble character, and a cheerful face, but without becoming immodest. What does this mean? The best way to explain this is Sunnat Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Sunnat Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Was the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam always serious? Some shuyukh, you see them, they're only serious. Over in America, it's not like that, but overseas, man, like you only see him and he's grumpy. I mean, for me, that's when I recollect some of the teachers that I had. You only see the Mufti Sahab and he's angry. I don't know what he's angry about. Maybe he didn't get the food he liked that day. Always angry. La. The Prophet ﷺ used to kana dhahak and kana bassam, and he used to always smile. He was always cheerful, but when he laughed, he didn't laugh like so loud, and he was perfect and balanced. He would smile and laugh with the companions. He would spend time with his wife. He was cheerful. And when it was time to be serious, he was serious. When it's time to be joyful, he was joyful. Each لِكُلِّ مَقَامٍ مَقَال. That's the sunnah of our beloved Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So the teacher of Quran, he should be cheerful, but not too much. Okay? So smile, and there's times to be serious. Again, لِكُلِّ مَقَامٍ مَقَال. They include discernment. He translated hilm, which is forbearance, as discernment. Unless my English is poor, Dr. Awad, does it make sense to translate hilm and forbearance as discernment? I don't really think so. It doesn't make sense, right? It doesn't fit for, I don't know. The word is al-hilm, but he translates it as discernment. I didn't like it. Hilm, forbearing. Meaning that people might say things to you, people might do things to you, then you just forgive, you overlook it. Okay? We've covered this, the forbearance of the hilm of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. People will literally pull on him. If someone put their hands on you, what would you do? Box them, mashallah. If somebody would punch them back, I don't know, have them arrested, go to the court. People do stuff like this. They don't care, even if it's my Muslim brother. You touch me, that's it. Oh, I'm going to rip you for every dime I can. I'm taking you to the court. This, that. Astaghfirullah al-azim. People do that in masajid without haqq. Let alone someone pulling on you and he's actually harming you. Rasulullah, someone pulled on him, left a mark. The Prophet ﷺ flipped the situation. He forgave him. That's the forbearance of the Prophet ﷺ. I mean, who has this now? Who has this type of forbearance and forgiveness towards other Muslims? Subhanallah. Let alone some people don't even have this towards their own family. Their wife does something to them, I'm not forgetting. Or my husband does something, I'm not forgetting. So, if they don't have forbearance with their own families, they don't have hilm with their own families, how do you expect it to happen to other people? So the person of Quran, he has this quality. The person of Quran, he has sabr, he has self-control, he has patience, and being above vile acquisition, which he says, Imam Nawawi, he says, وَالتَّنَزُّهُ عَنْ دَنِيءِ الْاكْتِسَابِ. Does it make sense for a person who's a hafiz and a alim to go then and have, there's nothing wrong in earning to take care of your family, right? Of course. Any work that a person does by his own hands is noble. But is it right for the person who has Quran in his heart to go then and perhaps polish some shoes or become the janitor? This is not right. If this is happening, this is a big, there's something wrong there. Okay? So the person of Quran, he should never put himself in this low position. He should rather look for something that is fitting for the status that Allah gave him. So he does not look for it here and there, in small odd jobs. Rather, you should be honorable. You know, someone, I remember, astaghfirullah al-azim, had the audacity to tell me that, why don't you in your free time try to do Uber? Astaghfirullah al-azim. I memorized Quran and the qira'at and studied my bachelor's, master's PhD. Not to say this is anything, but to go then drive Uber. Ish hadha al-aql. What is this? How do you think of people of Quran? You see? So again, تنزه عن دنيء الاكتساب. Not to go into different types of things. They include also adhering to wara'. What is wara'? Anybody know? Piety, but it's a specific thing. It's a type of piety that makes you leave even that which is halal to avoid to fall into something that is haram. To be extra vigilant in the type of and the way you hold yourself. The person of Quran, he has to have wara'. Meaning that not only is he avoiding haram, but he's avoiding even those things that are halal that could perhaps lead to haram. Like this, not extreme piety, but just, this type of, how do you translate it again? It's okay. Humility, tranquility, dignity, modesty, submission, and avoiding laughter and frequent play. Over here it says, al-ikthar. It's okay to joke around. It's okay to have fun. It's okay to do all of that. But if you do it too much, what happens? Your heart could become hardened. But let's say you're a teacher. You want to be close to the students. You want them to not have barriers with you. So you joke around with them, play with them. This is what I do with deen teens all the time. I mess around with them, give jokes here and there. But let's say the whole class joking. Are they going to take me as a teacher seriously? They're not going to take me seriously. So you're playful, but not too much. It's not too much. Al-ikthar. So being playful, having jokes, it's actually good. But overdoing it, this is what is wrong. They include also adhering to religious tasks. Okay? Over here he says, وَمُلَازَمَةِ الْوَظَائِفِ الشَّرْعِيَّةِ. Adhering to religious tasks. Let's say, if people constantly see their teacher is someone who is joking around all the time, and the things that he himself is advising others to do, he doesn't do. He's telling people read Quran, we've never seen him read Quran. He's telling people read hadith, we've never seen him read hadith. He's telling people to be nice and kind and friendly with his family, but when we see him with his wife, he's in a different way. This person is not showing it. And the students, they usually what? They look at the teacher, they're observing and absorbing all that the teacher does. That's what they do. I mean, for myself, I remember my teachers, I would remember, this is how he prays, this is how he sits, this is that. You start to adopt these qualities without even trying. And awrad, having a wird. Adhering, meaning that you're consistent with it. Some people, they'll read Quran today and then they won't pick it up for another month. Has that ever happened to you? It happens, right? You read Quran today and then you don't pick it up for another week, or another 2 weeks, or another 3 weeks. You start to do istighfar today because you heard it from the shaykh. Astaghfirullah 70 times. But then you don't do it again. Adhering to it means you have a wird, of a consistency to it. Every single Muslim should have a consistent, you could say, regimen that they stick to, a routine daily, whether it's for Quran, whether it's for dhikr, whether it's for salah ala nabi. Every single day, a person must have something that no matter what, they're going to finish it. The Prophet ﷺ, he told the Sahaba asked him, Ya Rasulullah, usually you come out at this specific time. Why were you late this time? Why did you come out later? He said, because I wasn't able to finish my portion of the Quran, so I went to go complete it and then come to you. Subhanallah. Rasulullah had a wird. Rasulullah had that daily portion. So what about you and I? If you're hafiz, they say, Man qara'a khams lam yans. If whoever reads 5 is not going to forget. Reading 5 juz is a lot, isn't it? read 1 juz if you're hafiz. Every other Muslim, read 5 pages, 10 pages, 1 page, whatever it may be. Have a consistent thing of Quran, consistent thing of adhkar. Adhering to religious tasks. And then he also mentions such as cleanliness. This is very important. Removing filth in hair that the Sharia legislation mentions removing. Trimming the mustache, trimming the nails, combing and keeping the beard nice and clean. Removing offensive smells and offensive clothing. So not only is your inward, and the way people see you, the way your qualities are, your akhlaq, your adab, and the way you hold the sunnah, but also your outward. It's not appropriate for a person to be in a position of religious teaching and learning to be someone who smells, someone who his beard is one here and one there, his mustache is going down, he smells, he doesn't put deodorant on. If you notice, and I do this deliberately, I always wear very, very nice clothes. Either a nice thobe or a bisht or some rocking clothes or this, that. Intentionally, you know why? Because when I am teaching you, I'm representing Sharia whether I like it or not. I'm representing the teachings of Quran and Sunnah whether I like it or not. So that's why students of knowledge, they should also adhere to this type of way. When I was a kid memorizing Quran, all of the students, we had a uniform. Every kid, every child wore a white thobe. Imagine you come into the masjid and this person is wearing pajamas, this person is wearing this person is wearing that, this person is wearing that. Compare that to the sight of entering into a masjid where all of the boys are all wearing white thobes. What immediately attracts your vision? What do you think? Where do you think the program is going to be more serious? Right? Where do you think? Without even having to second guess yourself. Of course, the one where there's this standard, where there is this not just uniform, but you see that they're very, very well kept together. And so combing the beard, trimming the nails, these are all things, of course, tomorrow's Jum'ah. So make sure you fulfill these sunnahs. For the younger guys, sometimes the parents, the fathers, they're supposed to teach this. If you have young sons, you have to teach your sons, this is how you're supposed to trim your hairs. Under the armpit, private parts. These sorts of things, you need to teach your young sons what to do, and mothers need to teach their daughters. They need to teach them these things. Putting on deodorant, this, that. Unfortunately, without naming or anything, but I have seen many school kids, if you enter into their classroom, it smells so bad. Why aren't the parents giving them deodorant? Why aren't they teaching them use perfume, put deodorant on? These are things you're supposed to teach your children. Brush your teeth, floss. These are things that you're supposed to teach your kids. These are things that are found in Sharia. And especially the one who represents the religion of Islam, he needs to be the most clean, the most this, the most that. Continuing on, the scholar should take every precaution from envy, showing off, pride, and thinking little of others. Not thinking little of others. Even if they are beneath him. Even if they are beneath him, he should not be prideful and look at people down and under him. There's a story Shaykh Ayman Suwaid mentioned regarding this, where, the great from the Qurra, one of them is Imam Kisa'i. Imam Kisa'i, the one who stops on the ta marbuta as with imala. So he says, إِذَا وَقَعَتِ الْوَاقِعِهِ لَيْسَ لِوَقَعَتِهَا كَاذِبِهِ. He slants it on the words that end with ta marbuta. He was called, he's from Kufa. There was always, like you could say, munafasa and kind of competition between the scholars of Kufa and the scholars of Basra. Again, they're both in Iraq. Kufa and Basra always had back and forth. You have the Kufan school, you have the Basri school, also in language as well, and the Qurra as well. Imam Kisa'i, he was in front of the Harun Rashid, and he's from Kufa. And then there's another Qari, Abu Amr al-Basri, his student Abu Sa'id Yahya al-Yazidi from the Basran school. They were together. Imam Kisa'i led them in salah. Imam Kisa'i, he's a great imam. You can't imagine how many times he finished the Quran. Surah Al-Kafirun, he made a mistake. People make mistakes. Doesn't matter how many times I read, I can make a mistake too. It's very possible. We're humans. Sometimes you forget. As you get older, maybe you didn't have enough sugar that day. Allahu A'lam. Things happen. And so he made a mistake in Surah Al-Kafirun. After the salah, the other imam, he said, Subhanallah, the great imam of Kufa is making a mistake in Surah Al-Kafirun. Imam Kisa'i, he doesn't say anything. Isha time came, and this time the other imam, al-Yazidi from Basra, Abu Sa'id Yahya al-Yazidi, he went to go lead the salah for Isha. And then he made a mistake in Fatiha. And so Imam Kisai, after the salah, he said, never see, and he gave him a line of poetry. I don't have it memorized now, but basically the meaning of it is that don't look at the faults of others and point it out, because perhaps then those faults will come onto you. Okay, so never belittle others. It's a lesson for all of us. And then the teacher should implement the ahadith that were related concerning saying Subhanallah, La ilaha illallah, and other adhkar and supplications. The teacher should also be consistently conscious of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala when alone and when in public. When alone and when in public as well. For example, myself, even when I leave, I know that perhaps I'm going to run into some Muslims. So if I go acting a fool all around, this is wrong. You have to be conscious of Allah in your private, in the masjid, and even out when you are in the public. There's been a lot of times where I would be out with my wife and then I bump into random Muslims. I go to Kroger, go to Costco, go here, go there. Wherever you go, you're still imam, you're still sheikh. It doesn't just disappear, Even when you're in the airplane. When I was in the airplane, I don't know how he found out, but I was in the airplane. It was on the way back from Umrah. So this is a flight full of random people. And this person was not even in my group. He wakes me up while I'm in the airplane. He said, Sheikh, is it time for salah yet? So, you're a sheikh wherever you go. And you're a student of Quran wherever you go as well. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to allow us to be people of Quran and to give us the akhlaq of the people of Quran. وصلى اللهم على سيدنا وحبيبنا ونبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. صلوا على رسول الله. You had a question? Brother Jamil, where do you go? خلاص, I'll talk to him later.